It is just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Laura Prefling and Sara Gilbride, who has had a business in Ahwatukee for 14 years that might surprise you, you don't even know about. Sister Sara Gilbride and Laura Prefling are native Phoenicians, both graduating from Apollo High School and NAU. While Sara has a background in management and government contracts, and Laura has a background in communications and public relations, their shared love of family and food brought them together to open their first Dream Diners in 2006. In the Fry's parking lot at 40th and Ray, they're right in there next to Fry's. All the way to the end is that Angry Crab. Mm-hmm. And you're right next to them. Mm-hmm. Since 2006. In 2007, they bought their second location, the Ahwatukee store, which had opened in 2004. A few years later, brought the Bravery and Naivety to open a third location in Scottsdale. Growing up, Sara and Laura's mom made them sit down at the dinner table every night and made them drink their milk. As teenagers, it was utterly infuriating to have no TV and no answering the phone, which was at the time, of course, a landline hanging on the wall that the whole family had to share. Well, fast forward 15 or 20 or 30 years, and both Sara and Laura now see the importance of what their mom was trying to do. And now, as Laura is mom to 3 kids, and Sara is stepmom to a teenage boy, they also enjoy torturing their own children with these same important rules. It is now not only a job, but a passion for them to help bring other families together around the dinner table. Dream Diners, founded in 2002, Dream Diners' mission is to grow great kids by promoting the family dinner. Dream Diners guests choose from seasonal, rotating monthly menus and prepare their dinners in-store without the hassle of planning, shopping, and chopping. Dream Diners lays out the ingredients in an easy-to-follow format so guests can assemble a month's worth of meals in about an hour. A pioneer and leader of the meal assembly industry, Dream Diners brings homemade, made easy to local communities through its 79 retail locations in 22 states, which you can learn more about at dreamdiners.com. And if they go to dreamdiners.com, is it a / to you? I mean, is it like / Ahwatukee?
You know what? The easiest way is just to click on locations or view menu, and that will ask you. It'll take you through to get to this location.
And the menus nationwide are the same.
Yeah.
So Dream Dinners, we're a franchise. We own a franchise, and therefore the menu is the same throughout the country. So you would just find your way to our location. Yeah.
So you two were you the only 2 sisters in the family?
No, actually. But we didn't just leave. We have another sister. We have an older sister, and we have 2 younger brothers. But
so family of 5.
Yes. And but we didn't just leave her out. We asked her if she wanted to be in a part of it, but she had a well-established career going already. She has a law degree. She's not a practicing lawyer. She does legal research, but she was well on her way and really enjoyed what she did, and was happy to stay there and not take on this crazy adventure that. And
there's so many people listening to you right now. I can't believe the views on this. This show, it's only been out 2 months since averaging 7,000 views a show.
Wow.
But a lot of people, you say Dream Diner. A lot of them, their dream is to get the hell out of the cubicle. They've been working for the man at Intel or Motorola or whatever. And a lot of the people are sitting there, they're thinking, God, I wish I could pick my own business. So when you decide you're going to go buy a franchise, you had a list of 500 to pick from. What made you pick this franchise?
Well, it wasn't. It was kind of the opposite of that approach, actually. Mm-hmm. We weren't looking to start a business. We weren't looking to go out on our own or go into business with each other. It was really Sara came across this new concept that was Dream Dinners and loved it so much and felt so passionately about it and she brought that to me, and that's how it started. It's because
you mean you loved it so much because you were using it?
Well, I was living in San Diego at the time, and I was flying home. I remember it being not March Madness, spring training. And on the plane, there was an article about Dream Dinners and the founders of Dream Dinners and what they were doing and how they were franchising. And so I was so moved by the article, I thought, at the time I was still single, and I thought, I want to come home from work and have dinner, easy dinner on the table. So I took it to my mom and my sisters, and I said, look at this. We should do this. And at the time, our mom had just been looking with our stepdad into a Curves franchise. So I was like, hey, Mom, you
Curves?
should. Yeah. Way
the
back
exercise
when.
thing, Orange Theory, like.
And we, and so we looked at it, and Mom said, no, you should do this. And so
Like we should.
We should do this. Actually, she opened it with us. She was kind of our third partner to start. And we started looking into it, and at the time I was living in San Diego. I went and did a session in Orange County because that was the closest one to me, and Laura and our other sister Stacy went and did one in Tempe because there was a location there at that time.
And when she says session, she means went in and made dinners. We can come back to that, but that's what she said.
okay.
Sorry, she said come to a session. It wasn't to like learn about it. It was we went and made dinners for ourselves.
So what went wrong in your life to leave San Diego and come back to a 118-degree cactus-filled desert?
I always knew I would end up in Phoenix because my family was here. I had the best time when I lived in San Diego, but the cost of living was so high that I was watching my friends at the time buy small condos not near the ocean for several $100,000, and I was like, I think I'll end up in Phoenix, and this just was the catalyst that got me back here.
Man, it wasn't very long ago. I was visiting my dentist friend in Manhattan, and he just bought this multi-million. He's all talking about it. It was the most expensive $1 million condo that any dentist had ever bought. Next time I was there, he showed us when this old building went up this little crickety elevator, and then it was like this dark box that was 1,000 square feet with one little window. And he told me how many millions of dollars he paid for that, and I'm just like, oh my God.
That was kind of
wow.
how I felt. I loved it there. Nobody in their right mind would ever leave San Diego, but most people do because the cost of living is. I knew I could eventually get a better house here and be near my family, which I knew I wanted to do eventually anyway.
So what is it you do? Like, what was the so what is
Sure.
it? And what is it you do?
So
And who's your target market? Working moms, working dads,
yes,
workers,
and families. We have a lot of young professionals and a lot of moms and dads, whether
And a
they're
lot of-
working or stay at home.
And a lot of empty nesters. So there's a group of people,
that's an interesting-
husbands and wives whose kids have left the house, but they still working. They're still working all day, and they want to get dinner on the table without all the fuss and prep and all of that. So.
So think of us like a store, like a meal assembly store. So when you come in, we already have all of the ingredients already washed and chopped and prepped and ready to go. And you will pick, from the dinners, the menu that month. And there are recipe cards throughout the store with all of the ingredients laid out in front of them. And you'll just very quickly, very easily assemble a dinner. Move on to the next one, so that the idea is that you leave our store after really just 60, 90 minutes maybe with 12 dinners, 12 or more, 12, think like a meal kit kind of a thing. You've got your meat, your marinade, or maybe the breading, or the sauce, the vegetables, whatever it is, all in a nice, neat little like Ziploc bag package with cooking instructions. And you'll take those all home with you. You keep them in the freezer.
You have several YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. Does one of these that you like more, or any of these your faves?
Sarah, what do you think? Do you
I
mind if
like
take
the
these
how
for a
it
second?
works
That one?
video.
Versus the how...
Well, there's
That
a
works,
45-second one, and then there's like a minute 45 how it works video.
Well, do you want us to insert that right now?
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then you
And
can
which one?
One,
do the 1 minute
we can do
45.
1, 2. We can do whatever. Which one do you want?
that one, the how it works.
Okay, so Ryan, right now as you're editing this podcast, insert How It Works Dream Dinners YouTube video.
Dream Dinners is a unique company founded on the mission of growing great kids by bringing families together around the dinner table. We offer freedom from the hassles surrounding planning and preparation of meals night after night. As a guest of Dream Dinners, each month you'll choose your dinners either in-store or online. Then select a date and time to come into your local store to assemble your meals. Unlike meal kit boxes, Dream Dinners has stores in local communities to help serve your family. Our stores offer an experience like no other. We take care of all the shopping, chopping, and prep work so you can focus on creating delicious meals to feed your family. Plus, we take care of all the cleanup. Leave the mess in our kitchen, not yours. In about an hour, you can easily customize a month of dinners based on your family's taste. Enjoy spice? Then make it spicier. Our menu offerings change each month and include grill options, heart-healthy choices, and meals you can bake from frozen. We also have side dishes available to complete any meal. At the end of your session, you'll leave with a month of meals that your family will love. Just put them in your freezer, and each week, thaw the meals you'd like to eat. Most of our meals are on the table in under 30 minutes, giving you more time to enjoy with your family on busy weeknights. Dream Dinners is the solution for busy families looking to solve the dilemma of what's for dinner. Dream Dinners provides you with a wholesome, home-cooked meal in minutes, giving you more time to focus on what's truly important, family. We are homemade, made easy.
Okay, so we're back.
Okay, so now you've gotten home with all of your dinners. You put them in the freezer, and I actually take 3 out right then and put them in the fridge.
So you're saying
ready to go, ready to.
You're saying the customer goes in and makes their meals.
Yeah.
And they make a week's worth?
A month's worth.
In 90 minutes.
Yes. So let me sort of preface that with saying, to us, a month's worth of dinners is actually 12 is kind of our magic number. Some people a little more, some people a little less, but the idea behind that is that 3 nights a week, times the 4 weeks in a month, you've got something, a go-to, something that is, good for you and tastes good and is easy, because I don't know a single person that cooks from scratch 7 nights a week, or even cooks 7 nights a week, really. And it's too expensive. Nobody's, going out to dinner 7 nights a week. So it's this idea.
I have all my meals delivered.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
From Domino's.
Well, that's awesome. I like Domino's too. But
so
this is like.
So it's not because some of those meal plan delivery places, they do want to do it 7 nights a week, and you're saying that's probably not sustainable and realistic.
It's not. I don't personally think it's realistic, and we've seen that it's not realistic. So if you take.
Well, the first thing I want to say is, how long have you been in Ahwatukee? What?
So the store has been there for 14 years, and we've owned it for going on 12.
Okay, well, I just want to tell, because we get a lot. We've done some podcasts with some really amazing kids from the high schools, Mountain Point, and young entrepreneurs. Let me tell you something, you young entrepreneurs in Mountain Point and Desert Vista. I've been in Ahwatukee 30 years. Almost every business has gone in 2 or 3. I mean, I can count on one hand the businesses that have been here for 30 years, and it's like Fry's. And maybe Valbeni's, what's the restaurant on 51st Street? Balboa's.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking, and now I'm blanking on the name too.
I mean, like right now, if you go to where my dental office is at 48th and Elliott by Safeway, half the retail center is empty. So in 30 years, I mean, and even when I remember when the landlord would be saying, "Oh, we're putting in this yogurt shop. It's a no-brainer in the desert," and I really no-brainer. Does that mean like longer than 4 months, but less than a year? So whenever you are looking at trust, now they just did a huge study. It was in the New York Times. I posted yesterday, where they would compare online reviews. Then they would go in and get their patient customer satisfaction, and they saw 0 correlation. So this business could have like 5 reviews that says they're horrible, and they go in there and say, well, they got happy customers, and their average employee turnover is, the average employee's been there 6 years. Then here's like 49 perfect reviews, and they go in there and their customers are all upset, no one's coming back. But the down dirty way to find out on someone's reputation management is, are they able to stay in business? And the fact that this business has been here 14 years, and you've owned it, how long of those 14?
12.
Yep, 11, 12.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you can't not have customers and stay in business for 3 years. I mean, when restaurants open in 3 years, 2/3 of them are already out of business.
Yeah.
So power to you.
Thanks.
Power to you.
Gosh, you make me
Yes.
feel
No,
so
I
good. Thanks.
that's like how many kids played football in high school? Not many made it to the college
Yeah.
level,
Yeah, you're right.
and almost no one makes it to the NFL. It's a complete pyramid scheme.
You're right.
And that's the way retail or business is at the 10-year mark. You make it 10 years, you're in the NFL.
There you go.
I mean, and that's
Go
pure
Bucks.
statistics.
We are really proud of what we've done. Not even so much that, but
What we
the
do
stores. Yeah, what we
for people.
do, because that's why we got into it. That's why we love it. I think, and I think that's why it's been successful, because it's about helping people. It's about bringing families back around the dinner table, and
The Dream Dinner's mission is to grow great kids. And that's what we do. That's what Dream Dinners as a franchisor does.
Where was it started?
It was started in Snohomish, Washington, which is a suburb of Seattle.
Okay, so Seattle.
And so everything we do revolves around growing great kids. And we do that by helping promote the family dinner. And that's all we do. That is what we do. People tell us all the time, well, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm like, this is what we do. And we do it well. And we provide great food for families so that moms and dads can sit around the table and not always order pizza. I tell people, yeah, you're going to order pizza on Friday nights because that's what you do. But we're here to help fill in those gaps and make it so you're not shopping, prepping, and getting things ready. You have a go-to. Every night I have something I can make out of my freezer, out of my refrigerator, and you don't stress about it because there's something always there. And that's the reason we don't do meal pickup. We don't do it by the week. We want that mom or dad to know that they're coming and they have something at home that they can make, and they can feel good about serving their kids and the rest of their family those.
So what if they're listening to you right now and they just want to come by the store and see a demo or,
They can, but one of the great things about our business model is we're only open when we have sessions. So sessions are people coming in and making their own dinners.
Okay.
So you may walk by on Wednesday at 2 p.m. and the doors are closed and locked. So we just recommend you look at our session calendar and you can stop in and see what we do. We have information outside.
Maybe that's why I wasn't aware of it, because I've eaten that angry crab. Is it angry crab? A million times.
Now you'll see it you'll see Dream Dinners every time. We're literally right.
And I would have
next to
never
it.
associated, even after watching your YouTube videos and studying your website, I never would have guessed that had anything to do with kids. I mean, that is amazing.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. But kids aren't coming in.
Right.
Kids aren't there.
But that's your higher purpose.
But that's our higher, yes. And there's actually there is just almost endless amounts of research. We could probably spend the whole hour just talking about the research that shows and proves that families sitting down to dinner at least 3 nights a week, there's that number again, 3 nights a week, where we get our magic number 12, the impact, the lifelong, lasting, positive impact that has on children. Everything from, it's been proven, they get better grades, they're more emotionally well-adjusted, they have a better vocabulary, they're less likely to try drugs, they're less likely to have eating disorders, they're...
Eat more fruits and vegetables.
Yeah. It promotes language development, they're a lower risk of smoking or drinking. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and it all boils down to this family time around the dinner table. Isn't that crazy?
It's my favorite Norman Rockwell painting. They're all sitting around the table. I mean, that's
a good one.
I think if I could pick one painting for America, it was that family dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. That's a great one.
That's a great example. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we just help moms do that because they're too busy to create the recipes and do everything that's needed to put on the table something they're proud of on a regular basis.
Okay, so they're probably thinking logistics. I mean, because especially this is a bachelor pad with I have 4 sons, only one's married and flown the coop. So is it like a salad bar? Like I'm gonna get a container and make a meal, then snap it shut, then put it in the freezer? Or
yes,
go over the details.
When you say salad bar, in the sense that yes, we have these refrigerated units. Picture a salad bar, or at Subway, you go through the line and they've got a refrigerated, compartmentalized, station there. We have one of those for basically each of the recipes. So.
And how many recipes do you have?
We have 17 different dinners each month, and it changes every month. So the cool thing about what you said, oh wait, they're coming in, like I would come in and do it myself. The cool thing about that is that in just as quick and just as small amount of time, you'll make that dinner and you can tailor it to your taste or your 3 sons that live at home tastes. Leave out the onion or add a little extra cheese or garlic or whatever, and you can tailor it just to how your family likes it.
So it's so again, do a pie chart of your customer profile. I mean, like what percent are bachelors, what percent are empty nesters, what percent are...
Let me tell you, our bachelor
mom?
is like 0 to 1%, and I think it should be much bigger. We
Do you know
cannot
they have
get
the
bachelors
lowest? Do you know they have the lowest life expectancy in the United
Do
States?
they really?
So my 2 older sisters are nuns, right? Catholic nuns.
Wow.
And
That's so interesting.
Catholic nuns, I mean, you go to their cemetery, I mean, they're all like 95, 98. Single women live the longest. Single men live the shortest.
Wow.
If the wife dies and she's over 65, half the husbands die within a year.
Wow.
So when men marry women, your life expectancy plummets and ours goes up. And if you really want to live to be 100, you should pray for your husband to die early. And because I mean, it just is. I mean,
But some of that has to be how they eat because
exactly.
the men that like where my husband works, I've gone and I've tried to get those bachelor guys, and they're like, that sounds great. And I'm like, well, what do you eat now? Like, what do you have for dinner? Oh, I drive through here, or I get this. I mean, it's a lot of fast food. It's all and but getting them, and they think that it sounds great to them. Like, yeah, oh wow, you have this dinner and that, and lemon chicken piccata, and all these. They sound fantastic, and they are fantastic, by the way. But getting them then in the door is a whole other story.
You're never going to get them in the door. And when you look at the when we grew up, the every year it was 30,000. 30,000 Americans die in car wrecks, 30,000 suicides, 30,000 accidents. But the reason the average man lives 5 years younger than the average woman, a woman is almost 80, and a man is closer to 73. In fact, you go to a nursing home, there's 100 women and 1 man named Lucky, And I mean, it's because who's more likely to fall out of a tree, fall off a roof? The accident ones are all pretty much male. On the suicide deal, the women attempt it twice as much, but they never complete it. They'll get like a butter knife and start a Facebook Live and or take a pill. A man's always violent. It's always a gun one time. So their attempt to completion is pretty damn. They should get an A. And when you look at car wrecks, men always say, "Oh, women drivers are horrible." Really? Well, look at your insurance rate. Go see what it costs to insure a 25-year-old girl versus boy, and then tell me women can't drive. I mean, so men are just, and I know all these stats because I have 4 boys. And I grew up with 5 sisters. It's 2 different worlds. I mean, I grew up playing Barbie dolls and cooking to now with 4 boys, each of which have automatic weapons. I mean, that's just crazy. So I would focus on trying to get the single girls.
Right. So
if I was going to go after the bachelors, I'd go after the women.
Yeah, no, and that's why we don't go after them. It's just funny to think like, oh gosh, they need us. They need us badly, but that's another story. I'm so sorry I got us off topic on the pie chart. So I don't know. I mean,
I would say
do a
like
pie chart.
60%, 70% are families.
Okay, 70% family.
And then the other 30% would be young professionals and empty nesters.
And what's
of
young?
those,
Like
they're all,
around 55
yes.
and under with 4 grandkids.
I would say so the other 30% are, or 29% would be married, young professionals before kids, and then empty nesters after their kids have left, but they're both still working. And then that probably 1 to 2% are single people. Our meals are the other thing about how we don't cater to singles as well. We can make it work. Is our serving sizes are 2 to 3, 3 serving and 6 serving. So we say they serve 2 to 3 or 4 to 6. And I have gotten really good about, if I'm the only one eating that meal for the night, I will put it in the fridge and eat the leftovers. Or I've gotten good about refreezing it after I cooked it, and then I can stick it in the microwave and have dinner.
So your average meal is for 2 to 3 people.
We have 2 sizes.
2 sizes.
The 2 to 3 serving size, and the 4 to 6 serving size.
Visually walk me through one deal. You pick the card. What's the dinner? What's the container? Do one visual overrun.
Okay.
Well, I can. So all of our dinners come in Ziploc bags or aluminum pans, and probably 85% of our dinners come in Ziploc bags. So you're going to have a gallon bag, and inside that gallon bag, you're going to have maybe multiple quart-sized bags. One with your chicken, the other one with the marinade. Maybe this one comes with a broccoli or a bread. And so all of those pieces are put inside the gallon bag with a cooking instruction in it. So when you need dinner, you're pulling out that bag and you're not looking
Pulling it out of the freezer or the freezer?
You pull dinners out on Sunday. That's the Dream Dinners lifestyle, so that you have them defrosted throughout the week. Most of our dinners need to be thawed before they're cooked. We do have some pan dinners that can be cooked from frozen. And you can also fast thaw some chicken under the sink if you need to. But the goal is you pull something out on Sunday, you'll have at least 3 dinners or however many you pull out to eat throughout the week.
Sunday night you'd pull 3 gallon bags out of the freezer and put them in the refrigerator. And I never understood that bottom drawer, the crisper. Because whenever you open the crisper, everything's rotting and there's gnats in it. They should call it the rotting gnat cemetery. And so then you put those in the refrigerator. So then you would come home from work and then
pull it out.
I walk in the kitchen, I pull it out. How long would it take me before I was eating?
Most dinners are 20 to 30 minutes. Some of our pan dinners take longer because it just takes more time to get it to cook in the oven. But for the most part, Dream Dinners knows that, moms don't have time. They have 30 minutes from beginning to end. But that means pulling it out, breading the chicken and sticking it in the oven or pan frying it. A lot of times it's 30 minutes doesn't mean you're working the whole time. You're letting it cook and you're doing other things.
And the best part is that afterward you don't have 1,000 dishes to clean up because you didn't have to get the cutting board out to chop up the onions. Already chopped up. You already have that. You're ready to go. You didn't have the mixing bowl out. You didn't have all of the spoons. You didn't have all these things. So you throw away that Ziploc bag and it's so much nicer after dinner
I talk all the time about how I will be having dinner and look in my kitchen and there's 1 pan, maybe 2 to clean up and nothing else. There's almost literally no cleanup because everything is already done for you. You're just preparing a nice fresh meal using a pan or 2, and then your cleanup is
so it's simple. Faster, it's easier, it's higher in quality.
Absolutely.
Cost, how would you compare that to going to Fry's next door to you?
I would say it's a little bit pricier, but not a lot, and it is way less expensive than a restaurant.
So you think so?
Yes.
People save money. We're about between $4 to $7 a serving, and that depends on if it's chicken, fish, steak, pork, whatever that meal is. Each meal is priced individually. Where people see a lot of savings is that they're not going to the grocery store and buying a big bag of feta cheese for something they need this much of, and they can go to the store. When I go to the store, I buy stuff for breakfast, some lunch stuff, and some snacks, and I can get out of there without really having to buy all the pieces necessary to prepare these meals at home.
Did you know that when people go to the grocery store just to run and pick something up, on average they spend $25, even though they were going for a $3 gallon of milk or, some feta cheese that they're going to make this recipe tonight, they will end up leaving on average having spent $25. So then, there's that type of thing also that just adds to the savings.
I know. I can eat like so good for like 3 days in a row, and I got to go to Safeway, and then you're throwing Oreos in, for like no apparent reason, and you're like, really? I bought a can of shoestring potatoes. You know, it's just like that
Okay,
impulsive.
Yes, the impulsive buys, absolutely. But and
My most fit friend will not go to the grocery store until after dinner, and then he chugs 2 of these. And these aren't 8 ounces; these are 16 ounces. He goes after dinner, chugs 2 16 ounces, so he has 0 appetite. And that keeps him out of the candy and the chips and the cookies.
I need to do that.
I know. I might start doing that.
Yeah, and he always tells, he says, never go to the grocery store hungry.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I'm not always good. But Dream Dinners can help you simplify your grocery list so that you are only going once a week, so that you're just picking up the essentials. Because if you're trying to create meals for your family, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. Your list gets longer, and it's stuff you're going to throw away. But you simplify your grocery list by not having to think about what's for dinner. And of course, you're going to still make your family favorites, and we know that. We're not here to replace every single day unless you want us to. We have one customer with a special needs child, and she eats Dream Dinners. They can't go out to eat. They eat Dream Dinners every night of the month. And they come every month.
Because
her
her kid has a food allergy?
No, because he has special needs. He has a lot of learning disabilities. So they can't go out to eat. So
for behavioral reasons.
Every 30 days she makes at least 24 dinners. And that's what their family eats because she's also very busy. So it can be anything you want it to be. You can use it 3 nights a week.
And when are your average sessions? Like how many sessions do you have a week?
We have about 6 or 7.
6 or 7, so almost 1 a day.
Kind of. We tend to, 2 nights a week, 2 sessions on Saturday, and 1 morning a week.
2 nights a week, 2 on Saturday, and 1 morning. Mm-hmm. And when's the morning session?
It's at 10 a.m.
10 a.m., and how long is it open till?
It's until you finish.
But I mean,
Everyone comes at
everybody gets there at 10.
10,
Yes.
and then we do the session. And
So
then
I can kind of see like a community. You'd start seeing the same homies.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. You're absolutely right. And I love that. We'd never even predicted that would be part of it, but people do. They tend to get on the same. If they're coming once a month, it's like, oh well, okay, when's 4 weeks out from here? And they do start seeing.
Do they
each other
schedule a
maybe.
point when they leave? When they're going to come
Yeah,
back?
most people do. Probably
You prefer that
70.
for logistics to have it scheduled.
we do, but
Absolutely.
we also reward people for doing that. Once you come in, we have a rewards program, and you earn points and earn dollars to buy additional items out of our freezer that we have prepared, anywhere from breakfast items to desserts.
So you do have
Other
breakfast, lunches, dinners, desserts,
We're
or is it mostly dinner?
we're focused on dinner. Of course, all of these meals can be made for lunch. We have some sandwiches. I just picked up my dinners. We have Philly cheesesteaks this month. That could be lunch or dinner. And out of our freezer, we have some pre-made items, some frittatas and some omelets and some scones and stuff people can pick up. And we also
Scones,
have
that's a East Coast thing.
yes, these are
East
very
Coast
good.
of Britain.
And we also,
I grew up my whole life in Kansas, never heard of a scone.
yes. Well, we sell them. And we also have a wide array of vegetables to pick up to go with those dinners. Broccoli, carrots, corn,
Yeah. all kinds of
peas.
stuff.
What else do we have? Cauliflower.
But you know what's funny? My example, when you say do most people make their appointment for the next month when they come in? And we do strongly encourage people to do that. And you know what my example always was? And it's just funny to be sitting here with you when is that I say, if it's so much easier just to take care of it now. It's like when you leave the dentist. If you don't make your appointment for the next 6 months, you don't do it. You totally forget and you don't go, or they're calling you and you're like, oh yeah. It becomes another thing on your list to do, right? So now it'd be good to ask you. Is that what happened? How would it work if people didn't
Dentistry
schedule?
is the most bizarre profession in the world because it really is because
Why do you say that?
because it's a completely preventable disease.
Oh.
Like no one can look at you and say, I can show you how to make sure you'll never get these cancers or Alzheimer's. I mean, dentistry 100% preventable. No one ever has to have a cancer. So who doesn't come? The people who don't like it or are afraid. So then guess who needs all the dentistry?
Yes.
So then the people who I don't care. It's like my mom took me every 6 months when I was a kid, so I just do it. They've been on a 6-month recall since they were 3 years old, and it's just one of those things. I mean, that's just what you do. They never have a cavity. They never need anything. They don't care. Half the time now, while you're working on there on Facebook, doing this or whatever, they don't care. And then that 20% who's afraid, doesn't want to come, falls out of the system. They're like the entire $119 billion a year dental industry is all the people.
Wow.
And well, it's the same thing with the hospital. I mean, who's got all the cancers? I mean, it's not the yoga instructors that are vegans. You know, they come in and, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that is a good. It's the healthiest people. They're making those 6-month appointments, right? So
what if someone's listening to you and they're saying, but I mean, gosh, I couldn't even write down how many diet fads I've lived through. I mean, oh my God, it seems like every 6 months, and it's always based on some story, you know. But you probably know all the diet fads. What if she says, "Oh, I'm paleo, or I'm South Beach, or I'm Mediterranean, or I'm whatever was on Ellen DeGeneres, you know, an hour ago"?
So we don't tailor to those type of diets. We consider ourselves to be for the average American family. If somebody is on a diet and not a totally restricted diet like paleo or low carb or whatever, so many people lose weight doing dream dinners, eating dream dinners, because we provide portion control. We also provide nutritional information. So if you have a family at home and you have to feed them, you can tailor it to what you need if you're trying to lose weight.
And back to the idea that, you know, if you come in and are putting together your dinners and you don't want to add that, you know, tablespoon of olive oil to save those calories, or you're doing a low carb thing, you know, and you want to substitute out something or whatever, you can do that, you know. It's
funny what you said, because I'm addicted to PubMed. I mean, I've read 5,000 research articles just on water fluoridation. I mean, you know, I just don't, I mean, when people talk about MASH and Friends and all these great deals, I mean, like Breaking Bad, I've never even seen one episode. But it's so right, because of all the research ever done the digestive system is a 30-foot tube. And you can tell by the length of the tube if this animal lives off grass or eats animals. You know, if it's purely a lion or tiger or whatever, you don't need a very long tube. If you're just eating grass, you need a very long tube. And when you look in the mirror, you see 10 trillion cells that you got from your mom and dad. The tube has 100 trillion cells. So when these people, they think they're eating all these things, they don't. You throw this food in a tube, and the 100 trillion microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and virus, they all eat it first, and then they're pooping out 20 basic amino acids. And when I show you this amino acid, you don't even know where it came from. You don't know it came from milk or spinach or sugar. And that's what goes through your 30-foot tube into your bloodstream, and then it's on its way. So as far as dieting, it always comes down to calories.
And if you're
it's just total calories. If you burn 1,500 a day and eat 1,000, you'll start losing weight. Mm-hmm. And all fat is future meals already taken. It's just your gas tank. That's all it is. Fat is future meals already taken, and it doesn't matter if it comes from bacon or broccoli.
Yeah, and so I tell the moms, if you're already cooking for your family, try and make this work for you. We aren't diet food, but you can check our calories. Our portion control is right in line. I think we're anywhere from 200 to 400 or 500 calories. And sometimes when they're higher calories, it's the ones in a pan, and those portions are already pretty big. But say it's turkey burgers. Eat it without the bun. Sometimes I'll eat mine with half the bun, because, of course, we're always trying to save calories. So there are different ways to not cook for, not cook for you and cook for your family. See if you can make it work. But
And there's only 2 exogenous variables to obesity around the world. You know what they are? So when you go around the world to 7.5 billion people in 220 countries, the people who walk, they don't have any obesity. You start to move up to a bicycle, you start carrying a little pudge around the waist. By the time you have access to a bus or car, it's a little higher, but by the time everybody has a car, everybody's obese. And to blame obesity, if you're an epidemiologist and you just had to follow the data, the only thing that causes obesity is a car. And so, like all these people in Ahwatukee that live in Ahwatukee. So, like, I live 3.0 miles from my dental office. Guess how many times I've walked to work in 30 years?
I'm going to say 0.
One? When
One
you,
per-
Wait, 1%?
1% of the time?
When your
Oh,
car
I'm
was in the
impressed.
shop?
And if I was in Scandinavia or Sweden, that would be 90%. If in all of Scandinavia, 90% would walk if it was in 3 miles, and if it was 3 to 6, then they'd all just ride a bike. And you go to a McDonald's in Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, any of those places, it's the same damn McDonald's, but out in front is 50 parked bicycles. And everyone has expect. You can eat bacon cheeseburgers and french fries. I've seen it in all the countries. But if you ride your bicycle 3 miles there, eat your fat french fries, and then ride 3 miles home, you're lean. But and then in Africa, which is amazing, Africa now has 1 billion people, which North and South America has 1 billion. So now Africa has the same population as 2 continents, North and South America. And you go there and you go to any of those countries, the rich guy, you think, oh, well, he's lucky, he's rich, he has a Mercedes-Benz. And he's 50 pounds overweight and has diabetes. And he said, I feel sorry for all those poor kids over there, they're on bicycles, they're all lean and have no disease. And guess who will live longer? The poor kid on the bicycle or the rich guy in a Mercedes? So it's just portion control. And it's how much you take in and how much you burn out. So if you walk, you would need more. You could eat more calories. And if you drive, you have to eat less. So but the Americans are convinced. Well, if you just switch to a high protein diet, or you have 5 whole grains, or switch from white bread to wheat bread, and and switch from peanut butter to almond butter, and when you eat peanut butter or almond butter, who you care? You're feeding microorganisms and fungi. Do you think they really care about almond butter or peanut butter? And then whatever metabolites they excrete is what's small enough to go through your tube into your bloodstream. So so those people, and they're, I know why I'm fat, because I love ice cream. I consciously overeat, and then.
We all do. I talk every day how I just want to eat. And we are in the food business. People are like, oh yeah, you're in the right business, because I talk a lot about food. And that has something to do with dream dinners, but not always. I just enjoy good food. Eating. I enjoy eating.
So then a lot of other people will say, well, why has obesity increased so much from the 50s and the 60s now? That's a great question. Because capitalism makes everything faster, easier, higher quality, lower cost. And when we were babies, food cost was 30% of disposable income. Now it's 10%.
Wow, is it really?
Well, when I was little, I had 5 sisters and a brother. You know who could take their whole family to McDonald's? The rich family. Now, everything's so much faster, easier, higher quality, cheaper. Now the poorest of the poor can go there. When we were little, we ate at home not because we were nutritional intellectuals. It was because you couldn't afford it. It was even music. I remember my sisters and I, we'd all always want to chip in on an album. And when you're a guy,
you never got
and you
what
have
you
one
wanted.
vote. I was always chipping in on a Karen Carpenter album, thinking, this doesn't even. That's why I've never been a fan of democracy. I've always been a totalitarian dictator, because I never got to watch Monday Night Football one time in childhood. I had to watch The Big Valley and all those. All my sisters wanted. So, what does the average person spend a week if it's a married couple? So you got a married couple listening to you, and what's the average American? Does it cost a week when they come in for a session? Does it cost monthly?
It all depends, again, on the dinners that you choose, and I'm going to say on a month basis. A couple buying that 2 to 3 serving dinner, if they bought 12 of them, $200 to $250. $250?
I would say $210 to $240, and that is because if you eat mostly chicken, it's going to be a little less. If you do more of the seafood and steaks, it costs a little bit more. So there is a range, but we're probably in like the $210 to $240 range per person, and that's 12 dinners serving 3 people.
Not per
each.
person.
That's not per person. Sorry, what
per
did I?
order.
Per order.
Per order for a couple?
For a couple.
Okay.
For that.
So $210 to $240 a month. for a couple.
For
Yeah.
12 dinners with possible leftovers.
And how much of your total freezer would that take? If I came in on April 1st, or the first day of the month, and I was married to this blind, deaf, mute lady who had a head injury, and we came in there, and we bought those 3 meals a week for 4 weeks. And I came home and I put that in my freezer. What percent of my freezer would that take up?
It would, someone posted on Facebook, one of our other stores, they had a small freezer, or a freezer with that top, and they had 12 dinners in there, plus a couple of pizzas and some other things.
So, like, if it's a side-by-side...
60%. Because you're going to put a couple in the fridge.
So.
Half
You're
and
going to
half.
put a couple in the fridge when you get home because you're going to eat them.
Because you're thawing them that way.
But the dinners come in Ziploc bags, and we try and teach you to take all the air out. It helps it in general, but it doesn't take up, a lot of them don't take up too much room, and you can actually get more in there than you think.
So who's your competition?
We don't feel like we have any. We can talk about we're happy to talk about the meal delivery business because although we fall in line with them, we are very different.
And we found that we have a different
What is the
market.
meal delivery business? Is
You
that
know,
where
like
they
the
put
boxes come to your front door.
Yeah.
with-
Hello Fresh, Blue Apron.
Yeah.
There's like probably a dozen of them that will ship meals to your door. And although that's more convenient,
Does
Or
that, they
see,
ship it,
sounds more
do they ship it
convenient.
for a
That's what
day
I-
at a time or a week at a time or a
usually
month
a
at a
week.
Yeah.
They
I
send
think
you a
so.
meal for a
Like
week.
3 or 4 meals you sign up. But the difference between them and us is sure it comes to your door, but then you get a box of groceries. So what they've done is your grocery shopping, a list of recipes, and you have to chop everything and get it all ready to be cooked. At Dream Dinners, you get the meal ready to be cooked. So
And they're loading those packages that are going to be freezing. I mean, they're putting it together.
Yeah, earlier you asked, sort of like paint the picture of what it looks like, and if I'm standing in front of a station, a refrigerated station, and I've got the recipe card up front, it's going to tell me everything to do. It'll say, okay, grab a small Ziploc bag and open it up, and then you're going to take a tablespoon of paprika and a quarter teaspoon of salt, and with the measuring spoons are already in each of the ingredients, so you just grab that spoon, pour it in, kind of work your way down the line following the recipe. Then it might say, okay, set that bag aside. So I close that, zip that one up, set it aside. It's going to say grab another small Ziploc bag, like a quart-sized bag, open that up, and now you're making the marinade. So it's going to say measure of a quarter cup of vinegar, a tablespoon of honey. All right, so I'm doing that and putting that in. Finish with that one, zip it up, set it aside, grab your bag of 3 chicken breasts, which are fantastic, by the way. Such good quality. We have such good quality meat. It's actually called restaurant quality meat, which is a term I didn't know before we got into Dream Dinners. But it's a higher grade of meat than is available at the grocery store. So even though I think we are very reasonably priced, you're actually getting higher quality food even in that great price. So grab, this bag of 3 chicken breasts. Okay, now it'll say take the gallon size, the bigger Ziploc bag, place your chicken breasts in, your bag of the seasoning, your bag of the marinade, whatever it might be. Now take the cooking instruction label that we've already provided for you, slip it right inside, and then zip that up and take it over to, we have a refrigerator that'll have when you come in, we have your name on a shelf, we have your name on a basket, we've got all your labels printed for
Really?
you.
Oh, because you've made an appointment.
Mm-hmm. We've got it all, we're totally ready for you and your personalized menu and sort of, your personalized experience, really.
Wow. So how long does the average customer stay with you?
Like to make their dinners in one day, or
for a lifetime?
it varies. We've had people that are with us for 10 years and have been in, a lot of customers have been in over 100 times. Some it doesn't work for, they come in a few times, but for the most part, 80% of our customers sign up to come back when they leave. Another important thing about our business is we're not a membership program. We do have a minimum order. So you come in and you make those dinners and you pay for the cost of each of those dinners. But you don't have to come back next month. We just think that you're going to because it's going to help your family. But when you come back, you've got to buy that kind of bulk of dinners, whether you come in a month or you come in 6 weeks or you come in 2 months. That's important to know because people think, oh, I'm signing up for a membership and you're going to charge my card. You're just coming in and making the dinners you've registered for.
Yeah, you're just ordering in advance.
Brian, isn't that amazing?
Going
What
on this
was
month.
I talking to you about right before they came in? I have to give a presentation to a bunch of dentists.
Oh, yeah.
And what was I talking about? You know, so many people as the when they get into these healthcare debates, Obamacare, this, that, and I always tell my kids, and I always tell my dental colleagues, it's not what dentistry can do for us. It's what dentistry can do for our children and grandchildren. And I never have looked at any of those national arguments about, because I'm a healthcare provider, you know, so we're in the middle argument. It's like I don't want my little perfect, flawless 5-year-old granddaughter Taylor Marie to go into a healthcare system that's incentivized to do surgeries and do procedures and all that. I just never in a million years would have guessed when you walked over here that the mission was to save the family.
Yeah.
Would you say save the family, enhance the family? What words would you use?
I think save the family can be used in some circumstances.
Let me read what's on your website. Dream dinners. We're about families. We're about getting kids to school, a soccer game, or band practice on time. We're about mothers who have too much to do and too little time to do it. We're about home, family, and friends, the good times, sad times, and all the times we share with those we care about the most. We're about PTA meetings and church gatherings, the drugstore and the neighborhood cafe, the places that are the touchstones of our lives. Food and families are at the heart of everything we do. That is just, I never saw that coming. And who's the founder? Was that outside of Seattle? Mm-hmm. So what was his story?
It's two women.
And we're working moms.
Stephanie and Tina. And Stephanie owned a catering business and owned a business where she provided food for people, but it found it hard with her busy schedule to get dinner on the table for her own family. So she gathered up a group of friends and they rented a commercial kitchen and she gave them the recipes and did everything, and these group of friends made 12 dinners to take home. And friends told friends, and all of a sudden so many friends wanted in on this freezer meal prep business, not even a business at the time. Help that she decided, hey, maybe I have a business here. And that's when she brought in her friend Tina, who is the business mind, kids of her own. They had worked together in the past, and they created Dream Dinners and opened a store in Everett, Washington. And it grew, and then they were getting stories, and people wanted to open their own, and that's how the franchise model was born for Dream Dinners.
And what has been your strategy to acquire new patients? What has been most effective for you staying in business for over a decade?
Word of mouth is huge. We have tried every type of advertising you can do, and it has never worked for us because people don't know us. You can't see the name Dream Dinners and know what we do, and there's so few, like we said, we don't really have many competitors, so it's not like you say, oh, we're a restaurant or a grocery store and people know what that is. So we try and bring people in. We have events, or we invite our guests we have incentives for them to refer people and invite their friends in, or have like a gathering at our store so that people can sample our food, they can see how it works. It's really funny to have someone walk in after they could have heard about it a million times. They could have heard a lot of things about it, and when they walk in, they always do this. Oh, like a light bulb goes off. Like you have to see it almost.
You have to see it to believe it. And it's so true. And so with the parties we do, you're a good customer. We say, hey, we want to give you and your friends a great deal. You free meals for hosting the party. And we want you to invite your friends in to try it out and make a couple meals at like a 50% discount and come in and just see what it's all about to see if it works for them. Because we know you could talk about it for 6 months saying, you don't understand. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. But until you see it, touch it, feel it, will somebody get it and understand and get to take the meals home.
Another thing I'm very proud of you is in my profession, dentistry, when I graduated in 1987, it was pretty much a boy show.
Oh.
And when I was little, all the gynecologists were men, and all the women complained. And in fact, the male gynecologist would say, quit being hysterical, which hysteros, Greek word, means uterus. And that's pretty insulting. It's like, quit thinking like a uterus. You know what I mean? I mean, even Aristotle, who's like one of the most, everybody, he's like the father of civilization, right? I mean, 600 BC or whatever, said that women were undeveloped men. And they were, the only function they had in society was to give birth to men. I mean, it's like, and now, I've been out of school 30 years, all those dental schools, law schools, they're half and half. When you're in just your gut feeling, what percent of small business owners in your world are men versus women?
In our world, like meaning dream dinners?
No, in your perspective,
perception.
your life
I
experience.
don't know. It's not 50-50.
Oh no, not at all.
But I don't pay attention to it because
But you're truly a pioneer. You're truly, there's little girls in Mountain Point and Desert Vista watching you, because my 5 sisters, I mean, when I was in school, you guys, it was a different time. Yeah. I mean, when I was in high school, if you were a girl and you graduated from Bishop Carroll High School with a 4.0, you were told to be a nurse. Oh. And if you were a boy with a 3.2, you were told to be a doctor. And if you went to the Air Force and you were a boy, you were a pilot. If you're a girl, well, we don't have girls in the Air Force. I mean, it was just door after door after door shut. And I've seen this totally. And then the guy at the front of the marathon finishes in 2 hours and 1 minute. But then there's 220 countries. Saudi Arabia just legalized women to drive this year. I mean, and people are saying, it's crazy. I'll tell you what's crazy is Ryan and I went to the Human Rights Museum that Canada just built, Winnipeg, Canada, Winnipeg, Manitoba, and $500 million Human Rights Museum. And when you go in there, you do all the big tragedies. I mean, the American Indian, slavery, the Holocaust. That was all, for me, I didn't really learn anything very new in that. But some areas were like, one of them that I just thought was the bizarrest, being Irish, being raised Irish Catholic. In Boston, the Boston Marathon, every year this girl would enter this all-male contest, and it showed pictures of these big, 6 fat, Boston police with bellies bouncing around, trying to chase down this little gazelle who's weaving through the deal. And they'd catch her, and they'd arrest her, and they'd put her in jail. And this went on year after year after year after year.
I think I read an article about this woman.
Yeah.
And they're saying she kept...
Oh, yeah, every year.
Until
finally they thought, well, why can't a woman run a marathon? Because it never even dawned on them. and not only did it not dawn on them, I'm thinking if I was a police officer, that's the last crime I'd go after. I'd say, I mean, there's a woman in the marathon. Really? Well, I bet someone's stealing a car right now that's parked at the Boston Marathon.
I'm not a runner myself. I wouldn't want to have to chase after her.
Yeah, and it's just so that's a big kudos. I mean, you got a lot of things on your belt. You stayed in business 10 years. That's top 1%. And you're women pioneers. And you're also violating the biggest rule in business, keep family out of business.
Oh, yeah.
Hire employees, not family.
I know, yeah.
We've always just gotten along, and I think underlying, it's always family first. But we can be totally honest with each other, and because we're sisters, it's like, okay, we get over it, It
is funny. We talk to each other differently than if we weren't sisters, or if it was just a professional partner, relationship, which is good and bad sometimes, because sometimes I can definitely be a little too honest, or a little too harsh in how I talk.
It is actually surprising that we have survived and we're still best friends. I don't know. I think it's just personality and the family
you're business
first.
partners and best friends, and family first, business second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about your husbands? Do they work for you too, or are they not allowed?
They don't officially work. They don't get
best.
paid. But my husband, I would say, is the handyman. So all the stores have his number. that if something breaks down, they call him, not me. Because then if I have to relay it gets
And what's
lost
his
in
background as
translation.
handyman? Is it just that he's into,
No,
he's just always been
good at
curious
that.
about
He's
stuff
good
like
at,
that?
yeah, he can fix.
He owns his own business too. He owns a Taekwondo studio in Central Phoenix. So when that's this like.
So if both of you went after him at the same time, could you take him? 2 against
No.
1?
I don't think so.
No,
No.
no.
I'd like to think I could, but no.
He's that good?
Yeah.
He's that good in
yeah.
Taekwondo?
So, and my husband I was married already when we started on this in this endeavor, and I can still picture him coming in after a session at the end of the night. Like, he worked all day, he's got his job, and he would wash dishes in the back, like help us wash dishes because we were just there.
Well, and he's our tech guy, so a printer's
That's
not
true,
working.
that's true. He
We
still
have to
is.
set up a
And-
new computer if we can't figure it out.
So have they been
then we call
supportive
him.
of this? You're owning
Yes.
your own
yeah,
business?
yeah. It's
But
tough.
you have
It's
3 kids,
tough.
and your husband has a kid?
Mm-hmm.
A child? How old are your children?
9, 3, and 2.
9, 3, and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And are you pretty much working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5?
I'm not anymore. I am incredibly fortunate and blessed and lucky that we have been doing this long enough now where we have, managers in place. There's a manager that each of the stores and other systems in place that took us a long time to get there. And so I have really stepped back, and I actually don't work very much anymore. Sara really has taken over and sort of runs, oversees the managers and all the systems that are going, and that's just, I don't know, that's the place I am at in my life.
So a lot of women professionals, a huge portion of all the women dentists that I know, their husbands challenged that their wife makes more than them, and I've had several men over the years tell me that weren't dentists saying, it kind of is hard to realize that my wife makes more than me, and I say, well, just don't think about it while you're vacuuming. But there's never been any competition because they say part of the opioid epidemic. I mean, a big part of the opioid epidemic of all these Midwest towns is that the dirty, ugly truth about why all the presidents have been men is there's a bunch of apes, right? The great apes. There's Homo sapien, gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, gibbons. I mean, there's more than one sapien. I mean, more than one great ape walking around, and they're all male-dominant societies except for the bonobos. Like when you go to the greatest sized animal in the world, the blue whales, they're female society. So the little bitty female swims down the middle and the big males are on the outside. And I always thought society needs to study the crap out of the bonobos because that's the only ape family where it's a woman-dominant family. And they say this opioid epidemic that in America, the man would have the high-paying manufacturing job, and then he'd come home and he was a breadwinner, and those jobs all went overseas. And now his wife is an LPN, or she's got a nice white-collar job with benefits, and he's unemployed or making half as much as she is. And that's a big part of the suicide going from 30,000 a year to 40,000 a year, and this year is headed to 50,000 a year. Yeah, my whole life, every year the life expectancy went up, and then 2 years ago it went down, and the next year it went down again, and it went down again. And then if you break it away, it's really interesting because within the African American males hasn't changed. This is a white male because they have stronger, they're not associating this, they're not dealing with, they're not having this, they're not seeing it that way. I mean, I don't know all the variables of that, but.
Well, I don't know. At least for me personally, the tough part hasn't been it's not like a money thing or a money balance, I guess, but just the stress and the hours and the things that come with opening a business and owning a small business and things like that. And when we did, I mean, we both left, paying jobs to start a business that didn't pay. And so I think any family problems or marital issues or anything came out of that kind of thing, like money, the stress of owning a business, or the stress of making less money than we did, when I had a job or when she had a job or something like that. Does that make sense?
Well, let me ask this.
I
can't believe we went over an hour, man. I could talk to you guys all day.
I know, this is so fun.
But Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, the Valley has 2 dental schools. One's in Mesa, and one's in Glendale. And they're half girls, half boys. And when I go into those dental schools and do roundtables or talk to them or ask them their question, the guys have their questions, but the girls got some unique questions. The girls always say, okay, look, I know from talking to all the older female dentists that if you're a female dentist, your husband's a male dentist, when you get off at 5 o'clock, guess who's going to do the homework, do the dinner, and all the laundry and all the stuff while your husband watches ESPN?
That's not just dentistry. That's kind of in general. It's kind of,
and this touches in an area that we also, I don't know, not deal with, but work in as well, because it is mostly women that come in to make the dinners. And
what percent of your customers that come in are women?
85%.
I would say less. It's actually
really?
From the day we opened, I never expected. I never thought we'd have many men, but we it
has shifted.
It has shifted.
But at the beginning, it was almost all women.
Yeah, 95.
95, and what do you think it is now? What do you think it is?
What do you think it is?
I actually would like to ask some of our managers. Our store manager here in Ahwatukee sent a picture where we had a session of 8, and 5 of them were men. It's not every day, but
think about how things have changed just socially, societally speaking, in the last decade, and being more socially acceptable for men to be the stay-at-home parent and all those kinds of things. So there's been a shift overall, but I think it's this funny line that we're always trying to walk. We as people, we as a society, that women were made to nurture. Thank you, to nurture, right? And yet sometimes that now gets frowned upon if women aren't going on to have big successful careers, or they want to stay at home, or so there's always this I think it's a very tricky line that's being walked. And of course I'm looking at it from the women's perspective, and the men have their whole their own perspective and take on it, and the funny line that I'm sure it makes them walk when we're talking about their wives make more money and how that makes them feel, or these types of balances and things. But
men are very superior in several things. We fall off roofs better. We fall out of trees better. We end up in prison a lot better. I think we're 90% of the prison population. But here's the specific question. My final question I want to ask you. Here's what these young girls are struggling with. You said you both left jobs. Mm-hmm. They're struggling with, I want to have a baby or 2. Should I go get a job at one of these dental chains, Heartland, Aspen, whatever, and just do the 8 to 5, so that when I leave work, I don't have to wear any other hat, and then I can go be a mom? Or is it better to be a mom if I own my own business? Ooh. Because if I decide, you know what, I don't want to work tomorrow from 10 to 3, I want to go to this place. So if I wanted to be a super mom, have a career, have 2 babies, what's better, employee or owner?
I want to answer this one, and then you can.
Okay.
I think in the beginning, Dream Dinners was really hard, and it's become easier. And now I can't imagine. I have flexibility. We have people running our stores. We still work hard, but it's just different. So no one's going to open a business and it's going to be easy. Over time, you get to create what you want. But we spent 5 years working really hard for not a lot of money.
A lot of hours.
And wondering if we were going to make it, because we had debt, we had stuff we had to take care of. So I wouldn't ever say, part of me is like, God, I would never do this again. But I look at my life now and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's really good.
So I would say if you have the time.
Yes.
If you have the time to start a business and build a business, at least a few years, and then we'll want to have kids and things like that, then I would say, yeah, gosh, in the long run,
it's worth it.
It is worth
Totally
it, and
worth
having
it.
the business made it easier for me to spend more time at home with my kids. But if you're ready to have kids or you're going to do it, if you don't have the time to put in, then I would say go with the very secure and 8 to 5. That is going to work very well too. But it depends on where you're at, what point you're at in your life and your.
And this is what I tell them. I said, look, you're 25, graduating from dental school. I'm 55. I'm 30 years down the road. This is my take. When I got out of school, I graduated May 11, 1987. I had my dental office open September 21, 87, right there by Safeway. Been there 30 years. Got married and had 4 boys in 60 months. Because I knew having a baby and starting a business is the most irrational decision you're ever going to make in your life. So just knock it out and you're not going to drown. I mean, you open up your business, you're not going to go bankrupt, you're going to have a baby. I remember working all day and then in the middle of the night, someone, 11, I'm hungry. And then they go out there and eat in the kitchen 1 Cheerio at a time for an hour. And I'm like, and then you just get them back to bed. And then one of the other 4, you'd hear the sound I hated the most was when someone's stomach overturned. You're like, oh God, now you're gonna get up, change sheets, start the washing machine. It's so insane to start your own business. And the insanity of that is matched again for every kid you have. I mean, if you were a genius, you'd have no children and you'd marry very well. You would just keep dating until you found that, but so just do it. You'll survive. It's like swimming. It's like swimming. The first time, I can still remember in College Hill where some man literally pushed me in. I mean, we had to jump in the deep end. It was the scariest thing in your life. And then 10 minutes later, what are you doing? You're having fun and you're swimming. So just do it. And if working for someone else was such a great idea, why is it that every woman dentist I know who's an employee for one of these chains hates it?
Oh.
I'd say for every one that loves it, 9 of them hates it, trading time for money, and just that that's my job, that's why I hate it. And the happiest people, and I think I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world because my dad owned a Sonic drive-in. So from 10 to 20, I owned a Sonic drive-in. I got to be with my dad while eating cheeseburgers and onion rings. How cool was that?
Awesome.
And then I worked for me. And I'll tell you what, one of my very good friends is a lawyer and was doing very well, but it was divorce court. And everyone's screaming and crying, and he said, you know what? I never want to see people again. And he walked away from that, and now he's a programmer. Because in his cubicle, other people might think that cubicle's so boring. And he's like, well, if you've been where I am, I mean, imagine everyone coming in crying, lying, bawling, yelling. I mean, it's just insanity. So, but congratulations, you guys are just so neat. You're so cool. You definitely got me as a new customer. How do they come become your customer?
DreamDinners.com. We have an introductory offer. $84.95, 6 3-serving dinners. You can sign up online and come in at your scheduled time. One thing we didn't talk about, if you don't want to come in and make your dinners, we will make them for you for a small $20 charge, and you can just pick them up.
Yeah, you can't go to Bob Benny's for dinner for 2 for $84.
No.
Period.
And that's 18 servings.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It
thank
was
you
fun.
for what you've done for the community, your mission, and for being role models to young girls who want to start their own business.